just want to start first off. The men and women who work at the Postal Service, who show up to work every day, our letter carriers, our postal workers, our mail handlers, the folks who come every single day are committed individuals, they're professionals, they care deeply. Trust me, they care deeply about getting the mail out as quickly and as efficiently as possible, which is why they were coming to me in mid-July saying something is going on here. We're not used to having piles of mail sitting in the corner and told, well, don't worry about that, you can get to it later. You can get to it the next day. Because you know if you wait till the next day, then that can become cumulative and it continues to bottle up and is a problem. Today in my tour, and I had an opportunity to meet with 3 of the senior Postal Service officials for this area in western Michigan, and they too confirmed to us that the mail has definitely been delayed. Unfortunately, they were not very helpful in explaining why that was happening, but clearly they also recognize as well that that is occurring. And it's so important that we get to the bottom of this, really because of the fact that people just rely on delivery of mail every single day. I know there's a lot of discussion about the election, and clearly that's incredibly important, and we can talk about it. But this is about much more than the election. This is also about critical medicines being delivered to folks on time. I mentioned the story at the hearing on Friday from a mother who talked about her daughter who relies on medicine for her epilepsy. And she gets the medicine within 3 or 4 days of ordering it. It didn't come. They weren't sure where it wasn't tracked down. It ended up taking 9 days to get to her. But the tragic part was, during that wait, her daughter figured, I better start rationing this medicine because I don't know if it's going to last. And that's the last thing you want to do is ration medicine for epilepsy, and unfortunately, tragic consequences. She suffered a seizure and ended up being hospitalized. That's why it's so critical that the Postal Service is able to have the resources and the policies in place to be able to deliver mail, as we have come to expect over 245 plus years of Postal Service history. But it's more than medicine. It's people need benefit checks and paychecks, and you want to get your bills on time so you can pay them on time, so you don't have late fees. If you're a small business owner, as we're going to hear from Beth, if you're a business owner, you rely on the Postal Service to get your products out. And in an era of COVID, where more and more business is going online, it becomes critically important that people and customers get the service that they need, and our small businesses need to have that help. So as a result of pressure from the public all across the country, because this story was not unique to Michigan in any way, we did get the Postmaster General to say that he would suspend some of the changes that were put in place. One of those relates to overtime and severe limitations to overtime. I'm continuing to hear conflicting stories about that. I think Amy is going to talk about that in her comments. But overtime is critically important, as it is for any business. When you don't necessarily have always steady business, you get surges. And in the Postal Service, you want to get mail out as quickly as possible. So when you have a surge, you need people to do that. And if you have limits in overtime and when that is, mail will pile up. It's one of those cumulative things. The other issue that has become apparent to me that I've learned and was confirmed today is that some of the scheduling of trucks that go from processing center to other centers are put on a more, I should say, a tighter schedule now. And the policies are in place that you see many times you'll see the truck leaving without a full load, or not even near a full load. And mail is sitting on the loading dock. I think Amy's going to talk about that. The mail is sitting there. And sometimes, you know, if you don't hear exactly the schedule, if you have to keep a truck an extra 15 minutes, perhaps, to take a big load of mail that came in because it may have been delayed a little bit somewhere else, wait 15 minutes, put it on the truck and get it off. Because if you don't, it sits on the loading dock for an entire day, and then there adds another delay. And you'll see a series of those kinds of delays. The folks I talked to today admitted there are those delays. Again, not real transparent as to what's happening. They certainly said to me that it wasn't happening at their facility, but that there are many links to the chain when it comes to the Postal Service, and we need to figure out what exactly is happening. That's why I've launched an investigation that I launched back after hearing this. We want to hear from Michiganders telling me their experiences. We have had this site up a couple weeks or so now, and I think we're approaching 8,000 people who have contacted my office and have stories, and stories like we're going to hear today, and the stories that I've shared. I'm hearing from our postal workers, letter carriers, and handlers across the state. Those stories are coming in as well. This is very real. I know there are some folks out there that saying this is not real. Well, I just say, tell that to the nearly 8,000 people who have contacted my office about the impact they have. Talk to our men and women who are on the front lines about what is happening, who work in the business.